something like that.
Is that what? What was that? Test 1, 2, 3.
Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
If I need to phone a friend, I can tag you in. They have that feature for girls, right? Sure.
No worries.
Yeah, all good. All good. I'm like impulsively downing water, so I should get another one on deck. Do y'all need anything when I'm going back?
No.
What were you up to today?
Meetings all damn day.
What do meetings look like for you?
Boring.
Sure. Nothing too fun.
Conference rooms. Boring shit.
Hydrated girl. Sounds fun.
Right? Rather be at a bus stop.
Why not? Oh, okay. Oh, no. I don't know.
We're talking to people.
You're right. You're right. This is real chill. It's very chill.
It is.
I feel like I need to be studying, but literally, like, we talk about this shit all the time, like, every day.
That's the thing. It's like you're giving them something they've never heard, you know?
Yeah.
Not like, it's like when someone tells you, like, you tell them you speak a language and they're like, we'll say, it's like you can't correct me even if I did. So, like, yeah, just, you know, just preach it.
The family's here.
It's true.
They just pulled up.
Yeah.
And it looks like you have a ton of supporters. That's really super nice.
Hi.
Love. Oh, those are awesome.
That with a hot labor summer, Gary?
Yeah. Can I see?
Please. They're our newest.
Very nice. And I'm really excited. I need to do
Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3.
How many dancers are in your club?
There were 24 when we delivered our petition, but they've been brought in scabbing dancers since then. So
What?
They brought in like scab dancers.
What's that?
Like dancers who are breaking the strike by yeah.
Oh, so it's like a Starbucks would call them a plant.
Okay.
So they're just like plants.
Yeah. So, but like strip clubs are like weird where people come and go
Yeah.
frequently, so it's kind of hard to like pin down,
Yeah.
concrete number. But it's a small club.
It's a small club.
Yeah.
I mean, but still, what you're saying is like a mutual struggle everywhere, right? Everyone has like this high turnover rate for sure. So, I mean, yeah, it should be good.
Oh, wow.
That's exciting, and that's a really high number for you guys. 18 out of 24 at the time?
Yeah, we had like a big majority.
Yeah, that's literally, yeah.
Sorry? Yeah, we're in like a week. Yeah. Which I don't think I'm allowed to say anything publicly, which sucks because I'm so excited.
I know, they told me.
Yeah. So, it's soon.
Yes, I remember you. It's not hot, we're good. I don't think it's hot, but it does smell like short.
She bought my
I think maybe. Or like you could squeeze like here. I'm moderating.
Yeah, there you go.
Like little QR codes for donations for all of the organizations that are speaking tonight, as well as our volunteer sign up. So I'm just going to introduce everybody. So we have Lilith from NoHo Stripper Strike. Chris Smalls from the Amazon Labor Union. And Veronica from the Starbucks Workers Union. By the way, newly unionized store, Cypress just unionized. Yeah, if you guys just want to like talk a little bit more about yourselves.
Cool.
Yeah, you can start.
Awesome. Hi, my name's Lilith. I was one of the locked out dancers at Star Garden Topless Bar in North Hollywood. Basically, we all felt that we were unsafe enough that we decided it was necessary to deliver a petition to our bosses asking for safer working conditions. Basically, we weren't allowed to go to security if we ever felt that customers were breaching our boundaries or were behaving in ways we didn't like, assaulting us, etc. Security was not allowed to intervene, and we just generally weren't allowed to de-escalate those situations. We were told by management when we were hired that we should just smile and walk away if a customer was misbehaving, and also a lot of our dancers would be fired for bringing up concerns to management, so we feared for our jobs every day that we worked there. And we decided that we had had enough. We all drafted a petition, we delivered it to our bosses, and they told us that if we felt unsafe, we could walk out that night and we could talk about it later. And the next day, we showed up to work and we were not allowed inside the building. Our bosses locked us out of work, and we have been picketing ever since. It's been 21 weeks this week of picketing, and we are unionizing, and we have an exciting announcement about that in a week that I cannot disclose now. But things are happening. We've filed a lot of charges with the NLRB. We have a lot of legal stuff going, so we are definitely moving towards what we hope to be a victory.
What's up, LA? What's going on? For those who don't know, my name is Chris Smalls, former Amazon employee, started in 2015, entry level. Worked hard, got promoted up to a process assistant. Was in that position for 4.5 years. Got fired in 2020 when I led a walkout over COVID-19. Some of y'all may have heard about that. After I was fired, Jeff Bezos, who was the richest man in the world at the time, making $13 billion a day, $9 million an hour, almost $5,000 a second, had a meeting about me. Somebody making less than $40,000 a year. In that meeting, he called me not smart or articulate. Ironically, they also said to make me the face of the whole unionizing efforts against Amazon. I said, good idea. So we spent the next year with my first foundation, TCOEW, the Congress of Essential Workers. We protested at every Jeff Bezos mansion and penthouse that we could find, starting from New York City to Washington, D.C. We came over here. Some of y'all was with us in Beverly Hills at his $165 million mansion. We was out here causing car accidents and everything. It was great. And yeah, we made TMZ that day. That was really a good one. We continued to protest up until Alabama had their first campaign, and we know how that turned out because Amazon spent $25 million, busting up that union and their campaign. But we said, let's take that energy and their efforts and let's continue it back home in New York and Staten Island. So in April, on our first day, 4/20, we started to, that's our birthday, fun fact. We started to collect cards at my former facility, JFK, Staten Island. I sat outside the bus stop for over 300 days, talking to workers, days and nights, rain and shine, cold, hot, having 22 barbecues, being arrested, being targeted, demonized, surveilled, you name it, cursed out, all of that. Defeating the odds of over 3,300 captive audiences that they put the workers in. the $4.3 million that they spent, the $10,000 a day that they pay the union buses to walk around the building 24/7, all of that, and we still kicked their ass on April 1st, 2022. And we became the first union in American history for Amazon, representing 8,300 workers. And we haven't stopped yet. Till this day, we launched several other campaigns. We're still growing every week. And I'm proud to say that I spoke to a worker right here in California that's ready to join the ALU. So we will be back. And we will be organized. So I'll talk more about it later, but that's where we at right now. And I'm glad to be here with my comrades, because y'all all are my comrades in solidarity. Thank you.
Oh man. So my name's Veronica Gonzalez. I organized my local Starbucks. I've been with the company for 4 years and watched it. So my store is a drive-through, and I watched it only get worse and worse when it came to working conditions. I promoted to a supervisor the past year, and I personally didn't feel comfortable promoting farther into the company because I didn't feel comfortable being the driving force that creates millions for this company, if not literally billions for this company off of the backs of the people that live within the community and serve the community, and they don't give back, right? They've given us crumbs, if not less, and expected us to be okay with it. And with their union busting tactics, it's kind of like, if you don't like it, leave. And I think that's absolutely disrespectful and disgusting for such a large company that can do so much more for a community that they're profiting off of. All over. It's not just in my community, it's all over. Like, we just have to challenge that. And I think that's one of the stepping stones to change. So, that's why I started. And our current struggles is, yes, my store is unionized, but this is only an uphill battle. Howard Schultz is, I don't want to say it, but Howard Schultz is not coming to the bargaining table. So yes, we're unionized, but we don't have a contract. So up next is the fight to get that contract, to get him to come to the bargaining table. It's not looking pretty, but I don't think historically it's ever looked pretty for the working class. So, it's just getting ready to start that process. Yeah.
Perfect. And this is a Q&A, so I'm going to start taking questions. I'm going to do 3 at a time, and then we're going to alternate between in real life questions and also we're live streaming right now. So we're going to alternate back and forth. So if anyone has questions, if you can raise your hand and I'll stack it. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 7. And then you'll be in the next round. So.
I work at an Mark store, and most of us only work part-time. We don't get any benefits or anything. And our bosses have started to add more tasks to our list without giving us compensation. And I had a meeting with my boss and his boss, and they weren't being transparent, and they weren't being open with me for negotiations as far as hey, this is an extra job, it's not in my job title, what's going to happen here? I was just wondering, what is the process for a store to start unionized, and what things should I maybe watch out for so I don't get fired?
Yeah, so you need 30% of your shop. So however many workers you have in your store, you need the total, you need 30% of that.
Wait, say that?
30% of the total amount of people that work in your store, you need 30% of them to sign union cards.
Yes, yes. Take note. I'm sure there's more of you everywhere that would like to, start organizing. I didn't realize how easy it was to start. It's having these conversations that makes it a little difficult. Some of us need to embrace being the leaders that we can be. All of us aren't, the most confident, the most outspoken, but it's being the change you want to be, right?
Yes.
That's how we challenge everything, and that's how we challenge the constant norm, and that's how we change. So, I'm sure there's more of you that want to unionize, so I see you writing your notes, but, I think this is great. He is right, 30% of your working place, and then I'm sure you have more to add. I have like a red flag that you should look out for, but go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, the red flag is going to be a lot of them, but make sure whichever union cards you're signing is the union that you want. If it's not, create one. So the ins and outs of your company. You're invested into that company. You got to talk to your coworkers who are like-minded, feel the same grievances, whatever the issues are. You guys got to build off of that commonality and keep it always worker related to the issues at the shop. And that should help you, getting to the first step, which is the 30%. You're going to need the majority, but depending on how big or small your shop is, you might be able to get the majority right off the top, which is always the best thing to start with. If you can get more than 30%, always aim for more.
Yeah.
And even after you reach your goal, don't stop. It never ends. It's not like, oh, I made my goal, that's it. Keep going all the way through and through until the process, because it's going to be a long process.
Thank you.
Also, when we ask questions and answer them, just make sure you project so people can hear. It's kind of an oddly shaped room, so just really project.
Gotcha.
One thing that I want to speak to for before the first step is just the power that you have complaining to your coworkers and starting those conversations, because I feel like as you go into unionizing, it's easy for people to kind of lose track of your goal in the fight. But if you have these strong relationships with your coworkers, that's what's going to keep you binded together and staying in the fight. And I just keep noticing there's, as far as workplace etiquette goes, we're taught to be positive and to not complain, to not talk about money, and those are all of the things that help us with organizing. And so do all of that. Just start having those conversations with your coworkers, and that can help you gauge where they're at as far as unionizing goes.
Next, Sue. First of all, thank you all for your work, and thank you for taking the time to spend with us this evening. Really appreciate it. I often try to dream in the visionary space of beyond contracts, beyond expanding, which workplaces are unionized, beyond, bargaining every few years for a new contract. What, in your opinion, is the next stage and evolution of labor organizing in terms of seizing spaces and material goods for the people and for the communities that these workplaces are actually in? So what is that bigger vision? I want to hear from y'all, and how do you think we should work to get there?
I think for us specifically, our wider vision is to eventually start our own stripper co-op, and also there's so much power in a strip club owned by strippers, run by strippers, and just supporting each other in making money and completely eliminating that competitive environment. I think that's probably the most ethical way for people to consume sex work. So that's our dream, and we'd love for stripper co-ops to pop up all across the country. That'd be amazing. Sorry? And we also, we're in leading to our dream, we've been having pop-up shows we call it our stripper co-op, and they fundraise for our strike fund, which is helping the striking dancers who have been out of work meet our basic needs. And we have a show actually it's August 22nd. It's on a Monday, and it's at the Federal in NoHo. So you can get a little glimpse into that dream if you want to come support.
So, I got a different approach. Basically, right now, we're in a fucked up point in time in this country. And I think we all know that. 2024 is around the corner, and we don't know which way to go. We don't have no other option. It's like two of lesser evil. And we already know once this administrator fucked this up, which is already happening, the NLRB is in danger. Meaning every one of our movements right now is gone. Literally. So right now we got to ask ourselves, as being a part of the revolution, because this is a revolution, where and what are we going to do? So the only thing we can do is a general strike.
Yes.
It's going to take some time, but I'm working on it. Traveling the country for a reason, so I'm dropping these gems, telling these unions the same message. Y'all need to be strike ready by 2024.
Right.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
If they're not, then they're not for labor.
Right.
It's either you're all the way in or you're not. There's a war going on outside, and it's us versus them.
Yep.
And right now they're winning. They're pouring billions of dollars into stopping organized labor. Billions. They took the wrong motherfucker to Aspen, because I was just there a couple of weeks ago. And it was for a recon mission. They wanted to invite me to agitate the Fortune 500 companies. I'm like, sure. And me and my brother was there. We sat up in there all day. And they were like, Mr. Smalls, why you don't want to leave? It's like, hell no, I want to know what the fuck y'all up to. So I sat up there and I watched as they have corporations like FedEx, Amazon, all these other tech companies that are making autonomous jobs. They were celebrating over making jobs that are going to be people-less, autonomous, automated. So they had this 14-year-old girl up there who raised $1 billion. 14-year-olds. They're starting young, brainwashing, getting into our public schools. Right here in LA. They lobbying right now. Amazon.
Right.
Public schools, communities. Bezos trying to open a daycare. Serious shit. He bought a healthcare company. Amazon looking at your medical records. So when are we as a people going to say enough is enough? The ALU, we broke the barrier. Now it's all of us together that have to storm the door. So that's where we at right now. There ain't no more going back to what we had before. That wasn't life. And we know our value now. If we're essential workers, it's time they pay us.
Oh man, mine sounds so not radical. But I mean it is. It is. I know. But it's just, I think one of the biggest things is like mutual aid, right? Like we need to really be part of each other's movements. It's not like a me thing, it's not a you thing, it's an us thing, and we need to be the change that we want to see. Like I can't push that any like further, like can't push that point any further. Like we need to start with ourselves, and then once we're confident with that, helping others, pouring into other people's cups, because no one else is reaching out and helping us. So if not me, who? If not you, then who? Right? I think that's what it is. That's the whole point of this grassroots movement. Like it starts with us, and I know it sounds so small, but it's the small ripples that send waves, and it's what we need right now.
So what can we do as comrades and members of the community specifically? What are some ways that we can support you guys in getting Howard Schultz to the table, Amazon to the bargaining table, and support the stripper cause as well? Like on social media, how do we build that public outrage and that pressure to get these companies to the bargaining table, or how do you guys see it?
Yeah, the public PR is very important, especially the Starbucks and Amazon. Howard Schultz and Jeff Bezos and Andy Jassy, whoever the hell's the CEO now, they done been to DC about 4 times since we done been there, because they're scared. And I don't know how many VPs that have resigned underneath them this year as well. A bunch of big names. I know Jay Carney resigned. It's starting to build up the pressure. And it starts with the customers and consumers and community leaders and activists. We have to amplify everything that's going on, because we're not going to get it only when the media wants to give it to us. We have to be our own propaganda. So just make sure that the conversation starts at home. You got family members that still buying Amazon products, gifting people Starbucks, so we got to make sure disrespecting women, that starts at home. The revolution starts with ourselves, and then we come together. So when we get to that point, the community has to show up on the picket lines. They've been outside Star Garden, how many months? 2 months now?
21 weeks. I don't know. I can't do
Right.
math.
Showing up whenever y'all can. Starbucks, they got stores on strike. They need strike fund money right now. I know in Boston about 5 stores. Over here they got some stores on strike. They got a strike fund, donate. Same thing with us. We need a strike fund now. Shh. Don't tell nobody. We're going to start the bill for something around the holiday season. So I'm already talking about Labor Day. I'm shutting New York City the fuck down.
Yeah.
Y'all got to do the same thing in LA. Y'all got to do the same thing in LA. Take the streets. Let's take the name of Labor Day and make it not just a fucking parade. What are we celebrating? Nothing. So let's get in the streets. Let's bring back the meaning of Labor Day and get ready for May Day. It's going to be and let's get ready for Black Friday first.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a really, really tough winter this time, and a hot labor summer. We're going to need a cold labor winter, because it's going to be cold. We're going to be in the streets. That hashtag just now.
I think for us, the most helpful thing is to have more bodies on our picket line. Just because we're dealing with, the whole reason we're on the sidewalk is because of safety, and we're still dealing with the exact same customers who who say horrible things to us and mistreat us on the sidewalk. This time we didn't really have security protecting us inside the club, but now we have security harassing us and threatening us themselves. So the stakes have really escalated, and the thing that keeps us safe on the sidewalk is our community being there with us and having the numbers. So that is super helpful to us. We're usually out there every Friday, Saturday nights from 8 p.m. to 1:30 a.m. But we post on our Instagram at Stripper Strike NoHo when we're out there. And of course, donating to our action fund, super helpful. We have an online petition that you can sign, and spreading the word is incredibly helpful, and putting the pressure on the bosses to actually take us seriously is great.
And then I would just be hitting them where it's visual to everyone. So like on social media, they have like this super annoying thing. If you ever go to Starbucks and you see their social media, you'll see people are already flaming them for union busting. And then they'll go and then they'll engage with the people that are like, my latte sucked. And they're like, we'll make it better for you. And it's like, so, okay. Or they'll be like, I love this place. And they're like, we love you. And it's like, okay. So I think blowing up their socials is great. Am I allowed to, I don't even know if I'm allowed to say that. But I mean, yeah, just maybe not blowing up their socials. Posting on your socials, showing, you know, support for the workers that want a union, you know, or being like, or having conversations. I feel like it's like planting seeds, right? Obviously, you have to be very careful. Management's out there. The union busting is very real in a lot of the stores, and you know, once management catches wind of it, that's when the union busting starts within a store. Some of them might not even know what's going on because the company's doing that good of a job to make sure that other stores don't know what's going on locally. So I think it doesn't hurt to engage with. I know some of us go to Starbucks, okay? And if you don't, I applaud you. But a lot of people that I do engage with do support Starbucks and feel guilty, which you shouldn't. Spending your money there, sadly, is what keeps us and our bills paid, keeps us employed. So that's fine, but it's just like engaging in, you know, enriching conversation. You know, do you even know what a union is? Like, it doesn't hurt. Educating the masses, the people that you come into contact with daily, as you said, like it starts at home, it starts with us, and yeah, that's a way you could support, both online and in person.
Okay, we're definitely going to do a couple more rounds, but basically we are streaming, so we're going to do online, and then we also have like our secondary space that's also full. So we're also taking questions from there, and then we'll bounce back here, and then kind of do that until hopefully we can get through like everyone's questions. So one of them is, what were the first tactics that your companies did to scare people from unionizing?
Oh man, damn. The first tactics? So you know, it's so crazy. I got arrested like month 9 out of 11. So Amazon called the cops on us several times. It wasn't just that one incident. So they used the police, the NYPD, whenever they felt threatened by the union, which was pretty much every other week. And the first thing they did was they built a barbed wire fence. Now I'm not sure how any of the buildings look out here yet, but I'm pretty sure I've never seen an Amazon building surrounded by barbed wire. So to see that they build this jail-like fence next to the building really put things into perspective of where we are actually working. The buildings are so far out, away from the community, away from the inner city. It takes 2.5, 3 hours to get there. You get there to these buildings, they have no windows. The windows are only in the cafeteria. So you're pretty much in solitary confinement for 10 to 12 hours. And to be called a picker, one of the positions, you know, one day a manager came up to me and was like, I need to whip these pickers back into shape. And I was like, what? It's like, bro, I'll punch you in your fucking face right now. You know, but that's the type of mentality and culture they had in there. And we had to stand up for ourselves. The culture doesn't happen unless we as the workers create that culture. So when we were out there on the picket lines and we were out there at the bus stop, every day we earned the trust of our coworkers. Every day we build relationships. We had several conversations. It's a marathon, it's not a sprint. You're going to have days where you're going to take an L. We had days where we had no signatures. We had days we had one signature. And then there was days when we had 200, 250, 170. It wasn't about the numbers. It's about being out there when they're ready. You got to be out there when they're ready, when the workers are ready. Sometimes the conversations don't just start with going right to organizing. Sometimes it start with something personal that y'all can relate to at home. Being a single parent, you know, struggling with bills, struggling to get through school, whatever it is, whatever common ground y'all can start a conversation on. Start with that, and then lean into the labor and the things that's happening in the workplace. Those are some of the challenges y'all gonna face. But if y'all stay together, y'all stay resilient, stay consistent, y'all will achieve everything y'all asking for, and then some.
Our situation was a little unique where the moment that we did our first action, we were locked out of work, and we haven't been able to be back inside since. So we don't have a lot of insight as to like what the boss's union busting tactics have been, besides firing the majority of their workforce. And like from what we have heard from the inside, their tactic seems to have been to just kind of ignore that we exist and to hope that eventually it goes away, and to act when new dancers are hired to act like it isn't happening. So, and which is obviously a questionable tactic because we're not going away, and they will learn that the hard way. But I think that once we get our jobs back, our jobs reinstated and we're back in the club, we'll kind of have more insight as to the kind of work they've done on dancers to vote no.
At Starbucks specifically, which is something that I hear they do all around, it's just sad because it's like the same tactics, you know, it's nothing new, boring, but they threatened with taking away our benefits. All of a sudden, oh, we don't know all these super great benefits that don't pay us anymore, but you know, like all these great benefits, you're gonna lose them. Oh, I don't know, you know, like these promises of like, you know, if you don't unionize, we'll keep them, but if you don't, I don't know what's gonna happen to you, right? And then we had labor cuts. I feel like that's one of the bigger ones that people don't really highlight. The labor cuts are huge because you have people that that's their full-time job, right? They're not full-time employees, but that's where they are 40 hours a week. And, you know, they profit off of that. Like, okay, that's cool. And then they go, and then they cut labor below 20 hours. Where are those workers supposed to go? Those are the workers that were loyal to you. And those were the ones that were starting to see what was wrong and most likely to unionize. And then you cut their hours. So I feel like a lot of people within LA, it's already very difficult to live there. If you live there, it's not cheap, and it's just getting more expensive everywhere around, right? So if you're working 40 hours, picking up 40 hours, and they drop you below 20, what are you gonna do? A lot of other people picked up second jobs, and if not that, left. It's easier to just leave than challenge your boss. And they know that. Time and time again, it's nothing new. So it's just, you know, being that change, like me being like, no, this is my community and I'm not leaving, because if I leave, you're just gonna do the same, excuse my language, shit to the next people. And I have people I like here, and you're gonna keep doing the same shit, spreading them that thin, and that's not okay. And that's why we're putting our foot down to show like it's not okay. We're people. I don't care what wage you put on top of my head. We're people. We have things we need to do in our daily lives, and we're not just numbers. Yeah.
Okay, 2 more of the online questions, possibly the annex, and then going back here. By the way, you can cuss. The second question from online is, how do you stay optimistic and take care of your health throughout this process?
Man, damn, I smoke a lot of weed, so I'm in the right place. Shit. Yeah, I'm glad I'm in Cali for got a couple more days. I'll see you after this. Yeah, you know, as a warrior in this fight, you got to take care of yourselves. I know it's crazy. I got the weight of the world. I don't know how the hell I got so much pressure on me, but I do. I'm damned if I do, damned if I don't. So for me, I take it day by day. You know, there's only so much we can control. So don't go crazy. As I said, this is a marathon. You know, you're not going to be, you know, victorious every day. But the small victories that we do have, we have to celebrate. The little ones. Don't care whether if it's just going out there at Star Garden and turning away every customer that night. That's the victory. You know, Starbucks organizing 300 stores all over the damn place. Those are small victories every time they win. Going to the store, ordering a drink, make sure y'all order it Union Strong. You know, those are small victories for us. And supporting, you know, the Amazon campaigns as they pop up. We're going to need a lot of people from the community to support getting out there on the ground and actually going to the trenches so y'all can see how it is to be an actual Amazon worker, because it's a disconnect. So, yeah, I mean, take care of yourselves. Work out, exercise, eat healthy. You know, take whatever drugs that make you feel good. Fuck it. You know, drink a lot of whiskey. Have social gatherings. Be in your community a lot. You know, this is family. You know, I feel right at home. I've never been here before. I'm like, damn, I'm on Crenshaw. So embrace these moments, you know, and enjoy every little bit of time you have with your comrades. These moments that y'all making is historical. You know, I know we referred back to history, a lot of great books here, but just think about this. We're actually writing history right now. Like we are. People want to read about us. So embrace everything that's going on right now with labor. Every day is going to be a battle. Every day is going to be a struggle. But you already know, when we fight back,
We win.
when we fight back, we win. When we fight back, we win. Every damn time. Power to the people, y'all.
Should I go?
Yeah, girl.
Okay. So I think like one of the biggest things that just absolutely shoots my morale up is our co-op events that we do, just because it kind of reconnects us with what our purpose and what we think can be possible. But also like I've discovered this thing, it's crazy, where when you express your feelings to people and they can they can relate to you, it's like very freeing, like, and so I've been doing that more often, just because I think in these campaigns, like, everyone's feelings can ebb and flow with each other, but sometimes people are feeling more up while others are feeling more down. And if you tap into your community of workers, and they can oftentimes lift you up. And I think one of the biggest things for me has been like events like this, where you're able to see outsiders' perspectives. I think like when you're in the trenches, it's hard to see what kind of very slow incremental changes you've been able to accomplish, but seeing it from the outside and like having your community rally around you and say they're excited and that what you're doing is important, like that's super galvanizing and has been really helpful for us.
It is along the same lines. It's creating that community, right? I feel just hearing it more, it's like we already were so disconnected. You know, we're entering a new age. Your cell phone's what you stare at most of the day for most people. You're staring at a screen. You don't really have that like human interaction much, especially if you, through the pandemic, we're already super disconnected there, and then work from home, people hardly get out. And then, you know, it's just, for me who's worked food service throughout it, which was at Starbucks, you know, you see customers, but you're not building that genuine connection there, because obviously there's a whole pandemic, and, you know, who wants to talk to you during a pandemic? You just want to get your stuff and go. So there's nothing crazy there. I think that's what builds morale, right? We're like reestablishing community within ourselves and finding that there is more outside than what we see day to day, right? Like, I would have never imagined for myself to be in a space like this. Had you told me last year, I would have been like, I don't even know. Like, what is that? You know, like, there is more than this. And I think, you know, taking the time to sit back and realize, you know, like, to get out of my head, and because it's really easy, like, it's really easy to fall into a hole and for that morale to dip and be like, you know what? Because change is hard. It's easier to just slip into whatever, like, normal you've had before, it's easy to just not do anything, honestly. And then when you're organizing as an organizer, now you're going and you're looking to uplift people, give information to people, and it's not easy. Some people aren't receptive and some are, right? So it's like community building events like this, building community just in general is what keeps that morale high. Like I would say, so when it comes to ordering your drinks Union Strong, it's best to do it at Union stores just because management's already got the whip. They know that store is unionizing. So that's great support because I know at my store it's so busy. We have like little labels that print our whatever drink we're making, and we would get slammed. There'd be like 20 drinks on one bar, 20 on another. All of my partners are like overwhelmed. It's just a horrible environment, like everyone's stressed, and then you'd get like one Union Strong drink and I'm almost crying like, oh thank God, like someone's seeing, you know, how bad this is. Because it's just being able to identify what's going on. I feel like before, just building the community and just knowing that there are people on your side, it makes the entire difference.
Okay, there's no questions from the annex, so I'm gonna do one last question from online for this round, and then let me pick the next one. So one you were in last time, so two, and then three. I'll just do four. So just in that order after they answer this question, how do you effectively fight union busting tactics?
Well, I'll tell you this, the myth of you needing money and resources, we debunked that. Because when we won our election, we had less than $3 in our account. So you don't need money. You don't need a lot of resources. You do need some. You might need a table and some chairs. Maybe a cooler if you're hot. Whatever you can get. You need some type of funds to come in. Doesn't have to be a whole lot of money, but if you can create some fun. We made a GoFundMe, it worked for us. There were times when we had money to play with, and then there were times when we had nothing. But we had a strong core, and we had a routine, and we had consistency. So all you have to do really is just be consistent on what you're committing yourselves to. Whether, once again, you have a good day or bad day, whether it's personally affecting you at home, you can't go to the shop with that energy. Workers, your coworkers, going to feed off of that. Yeah. If you go in there with a down, looking defeated face, they're going to question you. If I did that, they'd question my leadership. They'd be like, hey, Chris, what's going on with you, man? So every day you got to carry yourself as if you have that same fight from day one, no matter what's going on. And defeating union busting is really just caring for one another. Union busters are disconnected from us. They don't know our communities. They don't know our struggles. They don't know our grievances. They don't know shit about our community at all. They hire them from all different parts of the country, even from overseas, and they plant them in our community, in our buildings, and in our shop floors, in our baristas, to try to create doubt and fear. That's all they have to do. We have to overcome that by continuing to talk to our coworkers every single day. Showing our coworkers that we care for them. Little things. We did food, barbecues, we socialized, we smoked weed with them. Whatever it took. We paid for an Uber ride. We paid a cell phone bill. You know, workers needed a ride, we picked them up, we dropped them off. Little things like that matter. That's something that a company would never do, because they don't give a fuck about us. So we have to do it ourselves. And that's how you will defeat union, but no matter what company. Any company, any industry. The one thing that they don't calculate is love.
We've had a lot of of discussions recently about how we should be interacting with the dancers who are inside the club during the strike, especially because it's on the horizon that we might be back in the club soon, so we kind of need to all be on a united front about how to interact. And I think we're kind of working off of a basis of compassion and education. And because I think about before we walked out like 6 months ago, I literally knew nothing about labor organizing. And if someone hadn't sat down with me and heard my questions and my skepticism and walked me through everything I needed to know, then like I wouldn't be where I am right now. So, and I think that that questions aren't a bad thing. It shows that someone cares enough to get all the information and to make an educated decision. So if people are skeptical, I think that's honestly a good thing. At least they aren't writing it off immediately. So I think like first and foremost, like we want to approach the dancers with understanding and with compassion, knowing where they're coming from, and also just like not wanting them to continue to be in the poor working conditions that we were in when we were inside the club. And also just making sure that they understand that at the end of the day, our fight is with the bosses, and the bosses are our common enemy. The bosses don't want good things for them, just like they don't want good things for us, even if they're allowed to stay inside the club. So.
I would agree, it's just educating everyone, right? A lot of people don't know what a union is, so how do you combat union busting? You don't know what's union busting. You think it's your company looking out for you. You hear it and you're like, oh my God, they want to unionize? They're going to take away our benefits? We had to sit through an hour-long video, which is a captive audience video, right? Whatever. We're on the clock being forced to watch this video. It's considered training. And towards the end of it, Howard Schultz slips in that the company is being assaulted by the threat of unionization. So that's what he says, right? And then if your manager is telling you you're going to lose your benefits, you're going to lose this, so, you know, make sure you vote and make sure you vote correctly, right? It's like just a bunch of scare tactics. So if they don't have any information on it, they're obviously, sadly, going to believe the only information they've been given. A lot, as I said, it's very easy to just do nothing a lot of the time. So if you're just going to sit there, and a lot of people do have trust in their management, right? I think that's one of the bigger things. Like, a lot of people like their workplaces. That doesn't mean you can't unionize it too. That doesn't mean you can't ensure those protections that you already have. Just say you have great benefits, okay, let's ensure you keep those nice benefits, because realistically, just as they can fire you, find someone else, replace you, all that fun stuff, they could take those away too. It doesn't matter how nice it is. Unionizing isn't this big scary thing. It's something we should all have because there is love within the community and we care for each other. That's why you would want to unionize, not because, you know, some scare, like we're scary and we're gonna blah, 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 you know. So I think that's the biggest thing, like educating the people around you, giving them the information. The thing is, in a perfect world, yes, you'd give someone the information and they'd be like, oh, this is perfect. We don't live in a perfect world. I think we all are very aware of that. And you are going to be met with resistance. You might give the information and they're like, no. But as organizers, our job is just to plant the seed, help water it, you know, help it, nurture it, and let the people decide, right? I mean, at the end of the day, if you're doing a good job of that, unionizing's easy, and the union busting tactics, anyone will see through that.
I'm gonna a time check for how you guys are doing. It's been like 40 minutes. You guys are
Yeah, for sure.
Hey y'all, I'm so happy to be here tonight, and I wanted to say thank you so much for your courage that you're showing us, courage and humanity. Everything that you're discussing is exactly right out of the boss's playbook. What you're describing, the fear uncertainty and doubt. We use it. I'm from United Teachers Los Angeles, so we're representing.
Why you downplaying it? Tell them who you are. Why you downplaying it?
Tell them who you are.
I'm the president of United
Thank
Teachers.
you.
Obviously, we support y'all, and we need to know what we can do to support y'all, because we have back to school coming back next Monday. And all of our educators, we got in LA, we have 36,000 educators. We know that they're going to be at the Starbucks. They're going to be there on Monday. We need to be on our social media saying which Starbucks we need to target, because we can do this. If workers stand together, we will never be defeated. Period. In the it doesn't matter if you're teachers, if you're at a small bookshop or whatever, the tactics are the same. Fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And what you're talking about is the relational organizing that we actually need. And if we're gonna do what Chris just urged us and pushed us to do, is talk about a general worker strike in 2024. That means every single person here needs to go back to their labor union and their other comrades to actually say, we better get our shit together and have the boots on the ground to build the organizing tactics to be able to shut the damn city down.
That's right.
With other labor orgs, because I know it's scary, right? I mean, like when we took our 35,000 teachers on strike in the rain in 2019, people were like, I'm a little scared. Yeah, we got to throw scared and fear out the window, and we just got to do. So my question is, how are y'all each working with labor unions to get them on board, get them on socials, to be able to support your movement? You're right, it's mutual aid. The bosses, we got a superintendent that's busy skydiving, much like Jeff Bezos was in space. But we're gonna organize around his acts, right? So the point is, what do we do to help y'all so that we get the massive amounts of workers standing behind, saying Union Strong, showing up over here at Star Garden, all of the things that are necessary. So that's what I want to know. That's what the people need to know, so that we can have our marching orders when we leave here tonight on what we have to do.
Yes. I'm so glad you're here, because I'm glad that they're seeing the bigger picture now. You know, I guess y'all didn't know who she was beforehand, so I recognize her. That's my sister. So, yes, same thing I'm going to ask educators. I'm going to ask educators to bring union leaders to the classrooms.
Yeah.
And talk to the students. So that's what I've been doing in the East Coast. I've been at middle schools and high schools and convention speeches and all of that. Union leaders of all kinds should be going into the school. Career days. There should be career days that don't just include police officers and fucking fire departments. I'm tired of that shit. That happened. We all know, we sat through that. So now we got to bring these leaders and activists into the schools so they can connect with the children, and also vice versa. As yourself is here, we need other presidents besides myself and you to be here in these spaces in the community so they can tap in to what's really going on in the ground. Vice versa, and I think that will work and help build the coalition that y'all need right here in LA and beyond in California.
Yeah, I definitely think we have a big appetite to link up with other unions in the community. And one instance where we did that we thought was super successful is we did like a picket crawl with Unite Here, where we went to Chateau Marmont and participated in their picket, and then a bunch of them also came to participate in ours. So those kinds of like day-long events where you can just like have the same crowd of people hitting a bunch of actions was like super effective to us, and we'd like love to do more of those to partner with people, and maybe also to have like a space on social media where all of those actions are like listed in the same space, so you know what's happening in your community and like what needs
Already
to
done.
Great.
HotLaborSummer.com.
Beautiful.
So we're actually gonna do something Thursday, right?
Yeah.
Thursday, go ahead, tell them the information. Thursday.
Yeah, our picket theme on Thursday is Hot Labor Summer. It's going to be like a pool party theme on the sidewalk outside of a strip club. So we're trying to make it a fun, big thing. Chris is going to be there. So if you want to come out.
Absolutely.
For Starbucks Workers United, we do have a petition out. It's the no contract, no coffee petition. I do have, we do have QR codes on the Twitter and Instagram for Starbucks Workers United California and Starbucks Workers United in general. And the petition basically entails you can still buy Starbucks. You're just signing off if and when the call to action comes for you to not purchase your Starbucks, you would just follow, whatever we ask, right? Whatever we need at the moment. But it's just getting all those signatures. We're aiming to get a good amount within Los Angeles. So I would really appreciate all of you signing the petition, taking the pledge. Again, it's no contract, no coffee. And it's just so we can show, we have these people behind us ready. Like, what are you guys going to do? I feel like that's one thing that we've heard a lot. It's like, it's one thing to strike and then one thing to threaten them with a strike. I think it's the same thing. It's one thing to, boycott. It's one thing to threaten them with a boycott. I feel like it'll really send them running. It's not a boycott. You're signing a pledge, but you're signing a pledge. Hey, Howard. Yeah, you're signing a pledge. So if you guys could take the pledge, it would be greatly appreciated. No contract, no coffee. Thank you.
Okay, so I just really appreciate what you said about the boss is trying to get you to leave. I tried to fail to unionize at two of my workplaces, and they both said the same thing. If you don't like to leave, there was no there's no excuse for the bad pay or the bad working conditions or the bad hours. There was no defense of it. It was just if you don't like it, leave. So I would love to know, as someone who has tried and failed, and as talking to a lot of other organizers that were just desperate for information on how to do this successfully. When is your how-to guide coming out? And in the meantime, what do you recommend folks read or listen to or watch in order to just start on the unionizing process?
I'd love to reframe what you just said in the sense of you tried and you learned. You never fail, right? This entire thing is a learning process. I can almost guarantee you I'm very new to the world of organizing. I know I heard Liz also said she's fairly new. And then, Chris.
Me too, shit.
Chris is trailblazing, but, we all start somewhere. We didn't pop out the womb like this. We were ready for it, but, you don't. You just have to, embrace that power, and then, if it feels like you failed, you didn't. You just have to change the tactic, right? And then a how-to guide, there is no how-to guide. It's just do. You just got to do it. And when one thing doesn't work, you try out a new thing, and yeah.
Where you work at?
Well, right now I work at a summer camp, but before I was working at a campaign job, a really terrible company called Fieldworks, which I will say vocally because the VP has already heard my opinion on this. They insisted that we work 66 hours a week. It was usually 70 or 80 for a progressive campaign company that was hired by a bunch of different unions and the ACLU, et cetera, to do petition work. The entire left industrial, campaign industrial complex is all the same.
Yeah.
I've been in politics for 10 years. They insist you work insane hours for very little pay and just tell you if you care about the cause, you'll do this.
Yeah.
And we all wanted to unionize, but we were working such bad hours that we couldn't even take the time to do it.
I think that's the thing, like creating the time, right? For like my store, that's a lot of people don't know each other because the store hours are that insane. It opens as early as 4:30 in the morning, closes as late as 11 p.m., right? A lot of people don't even see each other. It's just really how, I mean, Chris said that's very inspiring. Like you waited 4 people at a bus stop, 365, right? That's what you said?
Over 300 days, yeah.
You make the time. I understand it doesn't feel like it, especially when you're working and being spread that thin. 60 to 80 hours a week is literally insane. So it's just, it sounds like even that's abuse, right? Being like, make the time, you can do it. But,
I mean,
go ahead.
so as far as you know, like she said, you never failed. You learn some mistakes, and that's fine. So when you go back in there, you got to start where you had the momentum in the beginning. You didn't just, as you also said, we didn't just wake up like this. Something got you there. Somebody else in there is feeling the same way. I don't know if you have others already, but you and those others are the ones that have to target other leaders that can influence people. Mostly the people that have been there for a couple of years are invested as well, because those are the ones that's going to be the ones to be hardest to flip. But when they do flip, they bring 10 people with them. The hardest thing to do is teach an old dog tricks, new tricks, right? I hate using that, but that's how it is. You got people that's like, I don't need a union. I get paid $25. And it's like, no, you need a union because you watch over the years your coworkers get fired. I'm like, who's your best friend right now? Oh, she got fired last year. So it's like, where do you want to stop that cycle? And if you can get to those people, there's a lot of them that start with different demographics, whether they're Hispanic, whether they're immigrant, whether they're African American. You start with different demographics. Go for the leaders. We had to learn that as well. We had to make sure we were targeting night shift. A lot of people hate working night shift. That's probably the easiest place to go get signatures. Hint, hint. Hint, hint. I'm telling you, if we didn't win night shift, we didn't win our election. So you have to go out there. What's up, man? You got to have cute animals and everything. You have to be creative. You got to be creative as well. Not just organizing secrecy. Being outspoken, being out front, it's going to galvanize others who are afraid to speak out. When they see other people start to do it, you know who can be targeted now. You know who you can have these conversations about unionizing. And just keep building. Keep building. Several conversations. Sometimes no conversations. Sometimes it's just a hi or a bye. But if they see your face every day, they see you in the same spot, whether you're passing out information or y'all setting up shop somewhere to educate them, if they see y'all every day, it's going to be that one day when they're going to come talk to y'all. That's it. That's it.
I personally learned everything that I know about organizing from the organization that's been like our rock this whole time, Strippers United. Shout out Stoney and Jordan, who taught me And there are like so many of these organizations that exist that their like sole purpose is to teach people how to organize your workplace and to give you resources. So that kind of support is just like so helpful, but also just like learning as you go, and like adapting to your specific workplace and the needs of your workplace. Like, there hasn't been a unionized strip club since 1996, so we were kind of making a lot of shit up as we went and figuring out what worked for us. Like, we realized very quickly that like yelling at prospective customers and being angry with them was not going to get them to turn away from the club, but using the skills that we use in the club by like talking sweet and maybe wearing something a little skimpy to get their attention and to make them stop, and trying to, oh my gosh, hi. Please don't talk to stop that. And trying to convince a person, when we were in the club, we might have convinced them to go lap dance, and now we're convincing them not to go get lap dances and to leave the premises. So just kind of, so figuring out like those ways that like you can use the strengths of your workplace, but also to adapt like your tactics, I guess.
I just want to thank y'all for your leadership, your courage. I'm in a union and we're treating next year as a strike year, so I'm really excited to be part of my first strike. I want to ask y'all about leadership, the emotional labor of organizing a union. What are the responsibilities of revolutionary leadership? What are the struggles that you have faced?
Shit, probably the FBI. I don't know. I mean, I just got an email today. Yeah, they done hacked my damn lawyers' computers and got my shit. Seriously. So, I mean,
No, I feel you.
you know, y'all know how these stories go. I don't know if I'm going to be here long enough, but hopefully I will.
We got you, brother. We got you.
I know y'all do. I know that, but hey, they're going to try.
Yeah.
So we all got to watch each other backs. You know, and that's real. It's real. Besides that, you know, that's what this movement has to be about as well. It's like, it's not a movement if we're all divided. It's not. You know, we got to be on the same accord. It's the only way this is going to work. You know, so this moment in time is really about all of us. It's not just one of us. You know, it's really about all of us. We have to withhold our labor. They're not going to give us what we want. They never will. They never will. The system was never designed to do that. And it's only getting worse. Like, how the hell did we just lose women's abortion rights? You know, it's not making any sense. It's not even making logical sense, you know, and they're trying to blame it on inflation. You know, we're fighting for 15. No. We can't. We're not going to survive. The planet's dying. Children getting shot. Can't even get their kids. Policing, getting billions of dollars for what? So it doesn't make any sense anymore. We got to stop this shit. You know, I got 10-year-olds, and I'm like, damn. I got a daughter. So I'm trying to fix this shit. I know the shit. I already know. I've been through enough. You know, and I think everybody has. Everybody has. So how much can we take? How much more are you going to take? You know, so as being the leader, yeah, there's a lot of pressure on myself. But then again, it's not. Because it's like, once again, if I walk away from this shit tomorrow, everybody going to run to Twitter and be like, oh my God, Chris Smalls is a sellout. So I don't have no choice. This is it. People ask me, what am I doing for work? I'm like, fucking organizing, man. It's 24/7. Ain't no days off. It's 24/7. So I got 50,000 emails that said something's wrong here. Literally. So I don't try to conform to what they want. I be myself. I do it as is. And I do the best I can. That's all we can do. But we're doing something. We're not just sitting on our ass. You know, that's what it's about. It's either, once again, you're in or you're out. There's no in between. You can't let your emotions get the best of you. You can't have an argument with your comrade and be like, fuck it. That shit has to stop. That's what divides us. Is these little arguments, infighting, not agreeing on everything. We got different ideologies. That's so fine. That's fine. Everybody does. But building off of the commonality of what the fuck is going on in this country, we agree on a lot of shit. I know everybody in here want Medicare for all. I know everybody here want free and cancel rent, cancel student debt. I know everybody in here want these homeless people to have housing.
Yeah.
There's so many issues that we agree on. So when are we going to say enough is enough? I already think we passed that moment already. So that's where we're at a point where it's like the only thing we can do is build for a strike. That's it. That's our only option. It's the only option.
I know I personally was like not prepared for how emotional a campaign like this would be, and it's really an attack from so many different fronts. Like, I know with any strike it's completely draining to see people not care about your well-being and cross the picket line, but we face a unique challenge, which is basically telling customers about the fact that we're assaulted both physically, sexually, and seeing them sometimes say to our face that they don't care and that they just want to they just want to see tits and that's it. So to be like faced with so much apathy is so draining, and also just like how high emotions run internally in a campaign is something I wasn't prepared for, and I think something that I'm really proud of with our group is how we're able to deal with those things, because at the end of the day we're all a bunch of really strong people who want to see things get better and we want to make change, and you're always going to run into an instance where people don't agree on the path to that. And I think just like being gracious with each other and trying to see things from each other's perspectives and taking the time to talk things out and to be vulnerable with each other and to express your fears. I cry so much, and it's great. Like, I feel like I would, like, if I bottled it in, it'd be awful. But like just letting yourself feel the emotions and like getting through it together has been really helpful for us.
This work isn't easy. It is very heavy, very emotionally laboring. You know, especially when you're doing this work because it affects you directly. It affects the people you love. It affects everyone around you. So it's definitely, if you do not take the time to, you know, find these outlets, draining. The burnout rate, way too high. You know, I think that's why it's so important to build that community, have a committee, wherever you're trying to organize, have a committee, have people that you can really rely on. Like, the moment shit hits the fan, you're not holding this stuff in, or the moment you have a bad conversation with someone, as we said, the bad days are gonna happen. It's inevitable. You're gonna have those days where you lose. And you have to build that support system for yourself, because it's not all sunshine. I mean, I think none of it's sunshine really, except for you yourself and your hope, that bright light that you're looking at towards the end. You're like, yeah, I'm gonna get there, you know. Really focusing on the end result, because if you get caught up on what your day-to-day looks like, you're gonna burn out. That's it. I've experienced it myself, where, you know, like, I'm talking to these workers, I myself, so I'm a supervisor, so I'm really working to the best of their benefit, and I'm like, you know, here's the facts, like, here are the things. And, you know, like, this is what they're not telling you. And then, you know, hearing people that you've worked alongside with be like, no, damn, that hurts. That's like, really, I'm looking out for you, and this is what you get. Something as small as that kicks your ass in that day, you know? So it's just building that safety net for yourself, because some days you won't be that strong enough to hold yourself up. If we're going to be honest, yeah. So building that safety net, that committee, whatever you want to call it, because it's not going to be easy. But it doesn't have to be that hard.
Okay, I'm so sorry that we couldn't get to everyone's question. This is going to be the last one, but everyone's going to stick around for a little bit so that you can like hopefully talk and get your question in. It is 9:30 and I know it's extremely hot in here because we don't have air conditioning. So this is the last question, and then yeah, feel free to hang out after.
Hi everybody, good evening. My name is Franco. I'm an immigrant. My question for you guys that are doing labor and work organizing is that historically, like working organizing has gone hand in hand with tenant and housing organizing, because we know that 70% of our wage goes to rent, goes to our housing, and taking care of our families. My question for y'all is that as we're going forward and we're looking at the bigger picture, when we talk about general strikes and shutting down the city, and shutting down maybe the country, is like how are you guys, if you guys can see both of these worlds merging in the very near future, which I'm talking about labor and tenant organizing, because you know what's something that we worry about as workers is like I need money so I can pay that rent. And if I'm not working, I'm losing my home, and I don't want to lose my home, my family, my kids, all this bad stuff. So I guess my question is like how do you see these two worlds merging in the very near future? And I'll say my take on it, because I do tenant organizing, is that like the best thing that I can do, because as an immigrant, I can't have a union job and I can't have a very steady job, so I'm stuck in these very small work-like conditions where I work like 2-3 people and that's it. However, I do know that if I organize tenants and go out 100 with that, in the near future, Totally Sense will bring back these skills that they learned, how to organize tenants, back to the workplace. They're going to learn about their kid or their husband has, they have procedures at the workplace. I know how to organize tenants, but we can apply some of this onto that struggle and vice versa. So that's my aim. My aim is to be the best tenant organizer that I can, organize as many tenants as I possibly can, and then hopefully they bring it back to the workplace. Maybe they put somebody on, like, hey, these tenant unions, they got you, you guys can go on strike and stuff. I don't know if you guys have thought about that, if you guys are seeing these things kind of like intertwined in other parts of the country, or even within your own organizing efforts. At least talks that people have, like, how am I going to pay rent? What am I going to do? And I guess the second question is, like, how do we mesh these both together?
So they already together. We all workers, man. We all workers. And yeah, I mean, you're talking about stolen land anyway. They don't own shit, be landowners. And when it comes to tenant organizing, guess what? The ALU, Starbucks Workers United, whatever tenant union in the country, we're all in the same boat. You know why? None of us are recognized. Seriously. There's no difference. Y'all organizing in a different lane, same struggle, same fight. You know, so for us to say, you know, it's a difference, no. Y'all gotta be on the picket lines, vice versa. Labor should show up, because I can tell you now, I'm organizing homeless people. I'm organizing people in shelters. I'm organizing people on government subsidiaries, on food stamps. I myself was evicted several times, trying to make ends meet, not even making ends meet. We're all in the same fight. I work multiple jobs. I work jobs under the books. I worked along immigrants all the time in warehouses, getting treated just as bad. So we're all in the same fight. We have to just realize that and show up for one another. You know, that's it. Labor has to take a stance on a lot of issues that we haven't in the past. That's why I've been out there with women's rights, out there in D.C. marching for their abortion rights. That's why I've been out there with Extinction Rebellion marching for climate justice. That's why I've been out here in Black Lives Matter. When y'all was fighting Jackie Lacey, I was here. So labor leaders, we have to take a stance on a lot of these issues. Because they are workers, they are members. So these are the people that's being evicted because they're not making enough money to afford their rent. It's the bottom line. So there's no difference. It's just now that we have to take a stand. And this is what I mean by us doing more. You know, so we all got to do more. All of us.
I don't know a ton about tenant organizing, but I can speak to some of the housing issues that plague strippers and also sex workers in general, which is that landlords will often require pay stubs in order to apply for an apartment. And in Los Angeles especially, a lot of strip club owners misclassify their dancers. They don't pay them an hourly wage, so you have nothing to show for in those instances. And also there's a lot of landlords who just won't house sex workers based on their own principles. So a lot of sex workers have to hide their professions in order to be able to get housing. So there's definitely a wider destigmatization that needs to happen for housing so that sex workers, it can be more accessible to sex workers.
Yep.
Okay. I think it is very interesting to be so new in this, labor movement, new to organizing. I didn't know what tenant organizing was. I didn't even know it was a thing, which is super exciting because it's like, what? I live within a community. I've lived in the same place my whole 26 years of life, and you see the community changing, right, due to gentrification. Luckily, we have some laws to help with the raising of rent, but a lot of the places surrounding where I live aren't even apartment complexes. They're homes that have been split into multiple housing units, right? So they've been there for a while, and now we're watching these people be bought out of where they live because richer people want to go buy it, flip it, sell it to wealthier buyers, right? The area of Los Angeles is becoming, at least specific areas, like Highland Park's already gotten gentrified, Cypress Park's on its way there. I mean, as I said, the Starbucks was a stamp of gentrification, right? It's going. So I think that's such an amazing thing. I would like to give you your flowers. That's rough. I'm gonna give them to you, bam. What was I saying? Because it is rough. I mean, organizing the place where you live. I've heard so many stories. A lot of people, don't have papers, right? If we're gonna be honest, they don't. At least within my community, and they're scared. They don't want to organize. So to hear someone like you who is going out and doing the work and showing them it can be done, that's amazing. Yes, it's true. And then you have the struggle of people working jobs like us who are barely making minimum, working to survive. They're not even thriving. We're not even thriving out here, if I'm honest. We're barely making enough to pay rent and then whatever food expense. You can't even go out. It's $30 to go to Burger King. You shouldn't be eating Burger King. That food isn't even good for you. But that's what people in our communities, at least my community, that's what they go and that's what they buy and that's what's easy for them, and they can't even afford rent or food when they don't want to cook, So I think that's amazing. I think the unionizing efforts and all of this, this hot labor summer and everything's getting the word out, and I think it's going to bring a lot of information to people about tenant organizing. I think it will go hand in hand because now I know that's something that can be done, and I'm most definitely going to let my community know that's something that can be done because, man, they need every tool in their arsenal to combat what's happening. The gentrification in these areas is not okay. They're pushing out people that have lived there years, if not their whole lives. They came straight over from wherever they came from, built their life there, and now they're being bought out and sent to live wherever else. No, it's not okay. So we need to organize in all aspects of our lives. So I think it's looking very bright.
no doubt. And look to your left, look to your right, and say, I got your back. I got your back. I got your back. I got your back. Hand in the air. Power to the people, y'all. Y'all all warriors in this fight. Let's go out and let's organize.
Thank you all for coming. We have a bathroom over here. Landlord special bathroom.
I'm struggling over here. Yay! Thank you for inviting me.
Oh my gosh, this is so great.
Was it?
So good. How's it been going so far at the store?
It's good. I mean, now that we've won, it's just like heading toward the contract.
Yeah. But so they're kind of off your backs a little bit? Or?
Well, I took some time off, so I haven't been back since we won our election. My first day back will be tomorrow, so we'll see how it is. A lot of the people are scared because now they're like, a lot of the people that weren't as engaged are now like, wait, what's gonna happen? It's like, well, maybe you should have paid attention earlier. Like, not to, not me to like scold you, but like maybe you should have paid attention earlier, and you would have known this is a scare tactic, and nothing's gonna happen.
My cousin works at Starbucks.
Oh, cool. I love that.
But he's the person who's and he's always up here whenever you're
100%.
organized and
Yeah. Where's your cousin from? Culver City. I mean, I wouldn't mind you giving him my contact. Just because, no, I'm not fired. I'm still very much working for the company, and the thing is, it's just, so within the unionizing, are you familiar with the unionizing process?
I'm learning.
Yeah, no worries. I didn't know. I had no idea. Had I known, I would have unionized more